I think given what's going on today with social media, the way news is broadcast, the way news is developed, which is from countless sources as opposed to what it might have been 10, 15, 20 years ago, trying to withhold information for most companies, regardless of the industry you're in, ends up being a negative because somehow or other it comes out. Short of there being legal reasons for requiring you to withhold information. For example, in a school district, some of our clients, school districts, any type of incident with a student, with a teacher, there are actually legal reasons why you can't give out information because it could either bias the investigation, put the school district at risk for libel with students. It's FERPA laws, which have to do with privacy laws, that you can't give the information out. But short of that, so long as it becomes public information in any way, shape, or form, there is no good reason from our vantage point that a company should withhold information, positive or negative. If it's going to be negative, it's going to get out there. We have to develop a strategy to handle the negative, put it in the best light for the client, if you will, as a PR agency, and move on from there, because I think you even see that right now in the political arena. You can't hide stuff. And the more you try to hide it, the more legs a story has, and it keeps going. We're seeing it with Hillary in terms of the email story, which is now, what, a year and a half or more old, because of how they were trying to maybe not be totally honest about it at first, trying to only give out partial information. This story it's the story that never ends. Will it, in the long run, impact her presidency bid? Don't know, but it sure has made it more difficult because it doesn't go away. And then all of a sudden, when you try to be, quote, transparent and honest about it, no one believes you. The businesses really need to get out in front of things. And look, the classic story is Tylenol, way back when. And everyone thought they were out of their minds for doing what they did. And, looking back historically, that became the standard of how you deal with situations. That's basically total transparency. Get in front of it. Again, I think it's mostly within the social media realm in terms of how companies are using it, and that's still a developing medium for most businesses. Only because with the way social media has become, unfortunately, like in every world, the negatives always come out of the woodwork. You rarely have as many positives saying you're doing a great job, you're doing a wonderful job, as you would have negatives coming out. And we need to understand that. And like as a PR agency working with clients, we all tell them that when you're going to go onto social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name whatever platform you want to use. Anything half decently controversial, you'll see more negatives than positives. That's okay. And if you're going to go there, you need to understand that and be comfortable with it. Answer some, not answer all, because not every dumb remark deserves a response, an intelligent response. But that's where I think, in terms of getting out in front of stories right now, that's where it all happens. It's not the general, it's not the network news in that sense. Things are starting in social media, and then they make their way to the broader, that you and I are watching on TV. But we're going to get it on our phones and on our iPads much quicker than when we turn the TV on and hear it on that. So yeah, I think it's a learning curve. It's a learning process for almost all of us still. How do we use that medium, which is, it used to be, they said the news was becoming a 24-hour news cycle, and you had to deal with that. Well, the news cycle now is 15 minutes because it's so immediate, and that's what I think we're all learning how to deal with. It is constant. It is always. Again, using a real simple thing, a kid gets left on a bus. Typically, when we were young, when I was young, the parent would call the school. They don't bother with that anymore. They call the news media first, then they call the school, and a lot of times the school learns that the kid was left on the bus from the news media, not from the parent, and not even from their own kid. We all need to learn how to deal with that and how to put it in perspective and how to manage it. And that's where it's going. What the next social media platform will be, who knows? But I'm sure there will be more. Just like, Facebook is sort of going through a transition. Now all of a sudden it's Instagram, which is the big one that you look at age groups using it. Twitter came on with a bang. Twitter now is having its own problems, and they're trying to figure out how to circumvent and navigate their own ups and downs to become more relevant again. There'll be another platform that's going to come up. We just don't know what it is yet, but it will. And we're all going to have to learn how to do that, because that's where all this is. It's going to be instant. And that's a positive, but it's also a negative. It's also information overload. And who do you listen to, who don't you listen to? And what's true and not true, the biggest problem is there is no filter on social media. You don't know whether it's true or not, per se. And we're going to have to learn how to handle that too, and that's a learning process, I think, doesn't happen overnight, and that's going to take years to work through and figure it out, both from a company and corporate standpoint, and just from us as the absorbers of all this information. What do we believe, what don't we believe? Because, as I said, there is no filter, there is no fact checking in social media. So to one extent, you can almost say anything you want, and it's up to somebody else to prove you wrong. Not a great thing, but it is the world we live in right now. And as a business, as communication consultants, we have to teach our clients how to deal with that and manage